Hello everyone and welcome to my video lecture series. Okay, so let's continue with our chapter respiration and circulation. So in the last lecture we had completed cellular respiration. Okay, we had completed carbon monoxide poisoning and we had also completed with regulation of breathing, which involved how the brain controls respiration. Now the next part in this lecture that we are going to study is called as modified respiratory movements. Okay, so today's lecture is going to be a short lecture. It's going to be an easy lecture and it is going to end this entire respiration part, and from the next lecture we are going to begin with circulation. So anyways, let's start with the part today, which is called as modified respiratory movements. Okay, so what are these modified respiratory movements? So your normal respiratory movements which are there are by default inspiration and expiration, which is taking in air and removal of air. But there are certain respiratory movements, like suppose sneezing. So sneezing is when some irritant or foreign material has entered your nostrils, so you want to remove it. So that is one of the modified respiratory movements. Or you can say coughing, same thing, some irritant or a foreign material has entered your respiratory system, you want to remove it. Or you can say yawning. So now yawning is slightly different. So yawning, normally people yawn when they are sleepy, but however please remember, yawning is also a mechanism to increase the amount of oxygen inside your lungs. Because if you remember properly, when you yawn you take in a lot of air and you remove all the air, so it basically increases the efficiency of your respiration. So these movements like sneezing, coughing, yawning, these are called as modified respiratory movements, and these are basically protective in nature. Okay, so they help in protecting your body, and some of them are also reflexes. For example, sneezing is a reflex, whereas some of them are voluntary movements like coughing and yawning. Is this clear? So that's a very short part. So examples of modified respiratory movements I can write down over here: sneezing, correct, coughing. So both these are basically protective in nature. Okay, so they are basically removing all the irritants. Irritants are substances which irritate or cause harm or damage to the system, so they remove these foreign substances or irritants. And then there is something which is called as yawning. Okay, so that is to increase the amount of oxygen in your body. Now that is not given in the book, I'm just telling you why yawning happens. Is this clear? So this is a very small part. Now after this, the next thing that we are going to learn is something which is important. It is related to all the different respiratory disorders. Okay, so we have to study which are the disorders. Okay, what are the symptoms that occur when you suffer from those disorders, what are the causes of those disorders, and last is how to treat them or how to prevent these disorders. Is this clear? Okay, so let us start with the next part. Okay, and that is related to your respiratory disorders. So let us write down the heading. Okay, so let us start first. So the first one is emphysema. Okay, so this is the name of the disorder. Okay, now first of all, what happens in emphysema? So emphysema is a disorder of your alveolar sacs. Now everybody knows what alveolar sacs are, right? So alveolar sacs are the sacs which contain many alveoli. So these are like balloons. So what happens is, so in emphysema, the individual alveoli in the alveolar sac, they burst. Okay, so just imagine if this is your alveolar sac, right? And these are the alveoli which are present inside them. So now what happens is, people who are suffering from emphysema over the period of time, these individual alveoli which are there, they degenerate and they burst. And what happens is, over a period of time, this entire alveolar sac becomes empty. Empty means all the individual alveoli have burst. Okay, so what is the function of alveoli? When you take air inside, each of these alveoli, they expand because they are elastic. Similarly, when you remove air by expiration, they reduce in size. But now you don't have individual alveoli, as all of them have burst. So what happens is, the elasticity of your alveolar sac decreases, and because of that, what happens is, as you have this disorder and years go by, so the elasticity of your lungs decrease and air keeps on getting trapped inside, and a point comes where you cannot remove the air because the alveolar sac is no more elastic. So this is related to your alveolar sac. Your alveoli get destroyed over a period of time, and that disorder is called as emphysema. Is this clear? Now this is not given in the book. This disorder belongs to group of disorders which are called as COPD. Okay, COPD is chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder. So there are many disorders included in this group. So emphysema is one of them. Is this clear? Now what are the symptoms? So some of the symptoms of emphysema are obviously breathlessness, because your alveoli are not there, so you will feel breathless. As the disorder continues to be there in your body, as it progresses, more breathlessness is felt. Okay, so that is there. And another thing is obviously your alveoli get destroyed. So those are the symptoms. Okay, what causes the disorder? The main causes of emphysema are smoking and pollution. Okay, so these two things are the main causes of emphysema. So obviously if you do not want to suffer from this disorder, then you have to stop smoking or don't smoke, or avoid highly polluted areas, or the best thing is wear a mask, okay, when you live in cities which are highly polluted. Okay, so please remember that. Also remember that this disorder, if you start taking precautions, or if you are already suffering from this and you start taking precautions, then further problem will be averted. Please remember the damage that has already been done to the alveoli, that cannot be reversed. Okay, that cannot be reversed through medication or any surgery. So whatever damage has been done, it will stay permanent. Further damage can be prevented. So is this clear? So all the disorders which are caused due to smoking or pollution, please remember the prevention is to either stop smoking or to avoid the air polluted areas, or if you cannot avoid them, wear a protective covering mask or something like that, which will prevent that air from going into your lungs. Okay, so that is your first disorder, which is emphysema. The next disorder that we are going to learn, okay, that is called as chronic bronchitis. Now bronchitis, whenever you hear this suffix itis, so itis means inflammation. Please remember this. Okay, whenever you see this word itis, that means it is inflammation. Bronchitis is inflammation of the bronchi or the bronchus, right? So chronic bronchitis, chronic is something which is happening regularly. Okay, so bronchitis are of two types. There is something called as chronic bronchitis, there is something called as acute bronchitis. Out of them, chronic bronchitis is much more manageable. It is not severe, it is not fatal much, and it can be treated easily. So what happens in chronic bronchitis? So your bronchi get inflamed, there is inflammation of the bronchi. Okay, what causes the inflammation? Again the same thing, main causes are smoking and air pollutants. So I will write down smoking and pollution, again the causes of bronchitis. What are the symptoms of people who are suffering from this disorder? So first of all, since it is bothering your bronchi, there is inflammation of the bronchi. Okay, inflammation means there is tenderness, swelling, pain. Okay, there is pus which is formed, all that is called inflammation. Then there is shortness of breath. Please remember that, because your bronchi are the airways through which your air is going to pass. So obviously if there is inflammation, swelling, you are going to feel certain discomfort when you are breathing. So there is breathlessness. Also there is coughing because a lot of mucus is produced. So these are the symptoms of chronic bronchitis. How do you avoid it? Same thing, avoid smoking, avoid pollution, and that is about chronic bronchitis. Is this clear? Okay, then going to the next respiratory disorder, that is again a form of bronchitis, but now it is acute bronchitis. See, acute means something which is very severe or which is very serious. Okay, and one of the main differences between chronic bronchitis and acute bronchitis is that acute bronchitis is caused by mainly bacteria or viruses. So please remember this, it can be caused due to bacterial infection or viral infection. Very, very important to know this. Is this clear? Okay, so what happens, same thing, inflammation of the bronchi, but this time it is much more severe, so the inflammation is more. Okay, coughing is there, shortness of breath is there, and also remember the mucus is yellowish in color. See, if you have viral acute bronchitis, that means if a virus is causing it, then what happens is sometimes your immune system is always engaged with the virus, so it is busy with the virus, so it cannot take care of the other things. So what happens is many opportunistic infections like bacterial infections also occur. Okay, because already your body immune system is busy in dealing with the viruses, so the bacteria will also cause infection, and because of that secondary infection the color of the mucus becomes yellow. Or if you are suffering from bacterial acute bronchitis, then the mucus becomes yellow, that is because of the multiplying bacteria. So please remember that additional point, yellowish phlegm or mucus which is formed. All the remaining symptoms are very, very similar, just that they are much more severe compared to your chronic bronchitis. Again, it is inflammation of the bronchi. Okay, how do you prevent it? So first of all, uh, obviously try to prevent the entry of viruses and bacteria inside your system, and if already they have entered your system, then for bacteria there are antibiotics which are present, so I can write that down over here. Correct? So antibiotics can basically eliminate the bacteria. If it is because of virus, then if antiviral drugs are present, then you can take those drugs. Okay, but most of the viral infections do not have medicines for them, so you have to allow them to pass. Okay, you have to give your body rest, you have to take enough water, okay, and eat your food properly, take enough rest, and that infection will go away on its own. But if antiviral drugs are there, then you can give that. In case of viral acute bronchitis, you can also take antibiotics. Please remember this, and that is done so that to avoid a secondary bacterial infection. Okay, so that is acute bronchitis. The next disorder that we are going to study is called as sinusitis. So sinusitis is inflammation of the sinuses. Sinuses are spaces present in the skull. Okay, so for example, sinuses are present over here, then they are present on both the sides of your nostrils. They are also present below your cheekbone. So these are spaces in the skull, and in a normal healthy person these spaces are empty, they are just covered by a small layer of mucous membrane. Okay, but people who are suffering from inflammation of sinuses, so they have swelling of those membranes, and because of that a lot of mucus is produced, so the sinuses are filled with mucus. Also, most of the people suffering from sinusitis also suffer from blocked nose. That is because excessive mucus which is produced, it enters the nose, so that blocked feeling is there. Okay, again the causes of sinusitis are same, bacteria and viruses. Okay, and you know the treatment for them, antibacterial, antiviral, rest. A vaporizer can also be used in case of these infections. Okay, so steam vapors help in breathing, they help in clearing of the respiratory tract up to a certain extent, so even vaporizers can be used. Okay, next disorder which is there in the book is called as laryngitis. Okay, laryngitis is inflammation of the voice box or the larynx. Okay, so the people suffering from them, they have a hoarse voice, a rough voice, they have difficulty in speaking. Okay, then they have difficulty in swallowing, also there is coughing. So all these are symptoms of people suffering from laryngitis. Again, it is a bacterial or viral based disorder, and you know the remedies, we have already done that. Okay, next disorder which is there in your book is something which is called as asthma. Okay, now asthma is a disorder which basically affects your bronchi. So what happens is, in a normal person, the diameter of the bronchi, suppose if it is this much, then a person suffering from asthma, he will have a smaller diameter of the bronchus. So already there is less space for the air to pass through. On top of that, what happens is, people when they have the asthmatic attacks, what happens is these muscles of the bronchi, they undergo spasmodic contractions. What is spasmodic contractions? Lot of continuous contractions they begin, and because of that what happens is a lot of mucus is secreted. Okay, so please remember, every time your muscles of the respiratory system they contract, some amount of mucus is released, but here because of continuous contractions a lot of mucus is secreted, and what happens is, now if you see, so that already small diameter of bronchi, it is surrounded by mucus, so now the diameter for air to pass is very less, and because of that they feel breathless. Okay, and if this is not stopped, then more and more mucus will be released, and eventually it will close down the bronchus. So please remember that these people have to take emergency inhaler medicines. Okay, so when they spray that, then these basically relieve the contraction, so the muscles relax and all the mucus goes away and they can breathe easily. Okay, so these inhalers are used. Okay, and basically people who are asthmatics, they have allergies to certain things, for example allergy to pollen grain or dust or some other chemicals, and because of these allergens are the substances which cause allergies, and because of them what happens is they get these attacks. Is this clear? So asthma cannot be cured, however people who are suffering from asthma, they can have an asthmatic attack at any time, so they need to carry those vaporizing or inhaler medicines whenever required. Okay, so these are not asthma is not caused by bacteria or viruses, it is mainly caused by allergies. Is this clear? Next disorder which is there is probably one of the most severe or most dangerous disorders of this group which we have studied, and that is called as pneumonia. So pneumonia is inflammation of the lungs or inflammation of the alveoli. See, anything related to alveoli is very dangerous, because alveoli are the principal respiratory organs. If your alveoli get damaged, you cannot transport oxygen into your blood, or you cannot remove carbon dioxide from the blood to outside. So if anything is affecting your alveoli, then it is a very severe disorder. For example, emphysema is also a very serious disorder. Pneumonia is inflammation of the alveoli. So inflammation of the alveoli causes mucus to be released in the alveoli, and alveoli get filled with liquid. So it is called inflammation of the lungs. Now what are the symptoms? So first of all, pain during breathing. Okay, so during inhalation or exhalation, if there is a pain in the chest, that may be pneumonia. Second is obviously shortness of breath, coughing. Also there are chills, okay, and fever accompanying them. And pneumonia is caused either by bacteria, so there is bacterial pneumonia or there is viral pneumonia. So the causes can be bacteria or viruses. Okay, if you know that you are suffering from pneumonia, it is best to visit a doctor immediately. It is one of the most severe forms of respiratory disorders. And other things, you know, antibiotics, antiviral medicines, anti-flu medicines, vaporizers can be used. So all that is there. That is your pneumonia. Last disorder in our list for today is going to be occupational related disorders. Now what are occupation related disorders? So these disorders are normally faced by people who work in cement factories or quarries, stone quarries where they break down stones, or cement industries or silicon factories. So what happens is, these people, they breathe air which is containing all those tiny things. Okay, for example, people who work in silicon factories, they suffer from silicosis. Silica particles get into their respiratory system, and they, over the time, they get deposited in the alveoli. Similarly, there is a compound called asbestos, so people suffer from asbestosis. So what happens is, normally not all people suffer from this, only people who are working in such environment where the air is full of these particles, only those people suffer from this disease. That is why this is called as occupation related disorders. Is this clear? Okay, what are the symptoms? First of all, blockage of the respiratory system because these particles get deposited, and second is there is something called as fibrosis. So what happens is, when these foreign particles enter the alveoli, your body fights back. The immune system produces cells which kind of fight with these particles, because these particles are foreign bodies, and because of the fight which is happening, inflammation is produced. And because of the inflammation, what happens is, the alveolar wall, which is very thin, it becomes thick. So every time the immune system tries to fight those foreign materials, your membrane of the alveoli, it becomes thick and thick, and that is called as fibrosis. So the alveoli becomes like a fiber which is very, very thick. And if the alveoli becomes thick, now it cannot transport the gases through it because the membrane has become impermeable to diffusion because it is thick. Remember the property, the surface, respiratory surface has to be thin. So that is called as fibrosis. You must have heard of cystic fibrosis. So that happens, and again, like emphysema, whatever damage has been done by the disorder cannot be reversed. However, you can take precautions to prevent further damage. For example, people working in such situations, they should always use protective masks, okay, and other protective equipment so that these things do not enter their respiratory system. Is this clear? Okay, so this is basically caused by the substances which are present in air, like silica, asbestos. Silicosis is caused due to silica inhalation. Asbestosis is caused due to asbestos inhalation. So I'll write this down. Two types: silicosis and asbestosis. Again, inflammation is there, so I am adding that cis at the end. Is this clear? So that ends the list of all the disorders. We have studied the symptoms, what are the causes, and how do you treat them or how do you prevent them. Okay, now coming to the last part of this lecture, which is related to something which is called as artificial breathing. Okay, so okay, let me rub this off. So what is artificial breathing? Artificial breathing is also called as artificial ventilation. Okay, so what is artificial breathing? When a person is unconscious, or suppose he has just drowned, or he is unable to breathe because he has got a severe electric shock. So the lungs are not working, the person is not breathing on his own. So at that time, artificial ventilation or artificial respiration is required. Okay, it can be given by some other person or it can be given by a machine. Is this clear? Now there are two very, very important points for artificial respiration or artificial ventilation. The first point is that before giving artificial ventilation, the respiratory airway or the respiratory tract or the passage right from your nostrils up to the alveoli, that has to be clean. There should be no obstruction. Okay, so the gas should be able to go inside and it should be able to come outside without any obstruction. That is the first point. Okay, so I'm writing down the respiratory passage should be unobstructed. It should be clean. Okay, so that the flow of air is maintained. And the second thing is, if some human being or if any human is performing this artificial respiration, okay, then that person has to make sure that he or she can provide forced inspiration and forced expiration. Okay, for example, mouth to mouth breathing. So forced inspiration by pushing air through the mouth of that person who is giving that procedure to the mouth of that person who is suffering or who is not able to breathe, and then forced expiration by pressing on the chest, okay, so that it creates a pressure on the lungs and that person exhales. So that is mouth to mouth respiration. That is the second point. So forced inspiration has to be done and forced expiration has to be done, because that person cannot breathe on his or her own, correct? So that's why you need to do that. If the machine is doing it, then obviously the machine will take care of both these things. But if a person is performing this procedure of artificial ventilation, then these 2 points are very, very important. If a human being is not giving artificial ventilation, then the other means is by using a machine which is called as a ventilator. Okay, so nowadays many people might be knowing what a ventilator is. So ventilator is a machine which helps in breathing. Okay, it is a main part of the life support system present in most of the hospitals. So ventilator is normally used during surgical procedures when the person who is undergoing surgery is not able to breathe by himself. Okay, so this ventilator basically helps in transporting oxygen to the lungs, from the lungs to the blood, then removing carbon dioxide from the lungs, and also helps a person to breathe. So some people, in case of certain lung infections or very severe respiratory diseases, they are not able to breathe efficiently. They can breathe, but they are not able to take enough air inside the lungs. So in that case also the ventilator helps. So ventilator basically helps in 3 things: taking in oxygen, removing out carbon dioxide, and it also helps the person to breathe. Okay, and that is the machine which is used for artificial respiration or artificial ventilation. Is this clear? Okay, so if you want, we can write down. First point is helps in taking oxygen inside the lungs first. Second is helps in removal of carbon dioxide outside the lungs, and the last point is helps a person to breathe. So this last point is for those people who can breathe but their breathing is not very efficient, so in that case the ventilator will help them. For example, all the COVID patients who are having a very serious or severe infection of COVID, so they have difficulty in breathing. Okay, that is because of the pneumonia. So in that case, a ventilator will help them to breathe. Is this clear? So that ends our lecture for today. The next topic is basically transportation in animals, which is more towards the circulatory system side. So we will be covering it in the next lecture when we start with the circulatory system. So that ends our respiratory system. Okay, we had started with the anatomy. Okay, and now we are ending here with artificial respiration or artificial ventilation. Okay, so please put in a like if you find that this video was helpful. Okay, please comment, guys. Commenting is very important because the YouTube algorithm works in a way such that it recommends my video if it has got more views and more comments. Okay, so if you think that this video was helpful, you can comment. You can also give constructive criticism if you want. Please do comment, do like and share the video. Okay, and subscribe if you have not, and do press the bell icon. Okay, thanks a lot.